Good morning. Time for another Take Time Tuesday. We start by breathing. So breathe in and breathe out. One of the things I rarely talk about is religion on these videos because faith is a personal thing. And I still believe that. However, we are in a time when our legal procedures are being very intermixed with faith protocols. And what I mean by that specifically, for example, is the Supreme Court is about to hear about making a Catholic school, charter Catholic school, eligible to receive public funding. And sorry, but that does violate the First Amendment. And we're not talking about it at all, and how it impacts mental health to the people who aren't specifically of the same faith of that school. I'm not going to talk about the economic situation of that, where you've got a tax-free institution, a church, getting public funding to run a specific school that allows for the further indoctrination of a belief system that is in violation of our separation of church and state. Instead, I'm going to talk about how that mental health breakdown occurs to a general population. For some people, faith is a mental health booster. For others, it's a mental health trigger. I fall somewhere in between on that. I grew up in the Jewish faith due to the fact that I'm part of the LGBT community. That was challenged. I will probably always identify as Jewish from an acculturated point of view, but my faith is personal to me, and it's taken a very different path. And it does bring me mental calm in times through my own interpretation of it. But it's just as valid to be Jewish, to be Christian, to be Muslim, to be atheist, to be agnostic, to be a shaman, to be a druid. It doesn't matter. What matters is the negative mental consequences of having an institutional organization or a federal legal precedent impinge on your mental health thusly, when it's already been established that there has to be a separation thereof. The Founding Fathers were not Catholic. The Founding Fathers had a very humanitarian and humanistic view of religion. They were humanists, the majority of them. There were religious people that were Founding Fathers too, sure, but they ultimately understood that codifying faith in our legal system was problematic because there was too much divisiveness in individual sects, and it was problematic. And yet we've allowed ourselves to get to the point now where we've eroded public faith in everything, and people who are sitting on the sidelines looking for divisiveness are actively attacking things. And at the end of the day, that frustrates people enough that they erode their mental health. So what do you do about that? The reality is, keep your faith to yourself unless you're asked. Respect other people's faith because it's probably not the same as yours. And treat people with human decency and care. That in of itself goes a long way. The most powerful figures in faith historically were not militant. They were accommodating. They met people on their own, and they saw people as people. Something to think about. Y'all have a good day.